Hi everyone, my name's Natalie and let's go on a late night shop to Tesco. I had my two oldest girls with me, they came along and I ended up spending £190. This wasn't a full shop, this was only for a few days and I hadn't intended on spending so much, it was just supposed to get a few things, but we did end up getting a bit more. The Christmas shopping is obviously in full swing and in every single shop we're going into there is so much Christmas stuff. We do need to get a new tree this year. We have moved and we didn't take the old one with us, and there's certainly a lot of decorations to choose from, but I'm going to wait until after Kiva's birthday. Her birthday is the second week in December, and my gran always says to me 12 days before and 12 days after anyway, and we've sort of stuck to that. But now that it's Kiva's birthday, we are definitely sticking to it. There are so many good deals at the moment. I was very tempted to pick up our tree and then we can just put it up on the 13th. While I spent £190, I did pick up a Christmas present, and I think that was about 25. In fact, I picked up two Christmas presents and one was £25. The other one was £6. I'm just getting it here for that Paw Patrol game. I got a board game, and then we also picked up 4 electric toothbrushes, like the children's ones, and they were £4 each, so it wasn't all on food. This video was recorded at the end of last week, so I don't think the 20% off clothing is still valid, but all of these other offers are. They had 3 for 2 on toys as well. And while I only picked up a couple of things, one of them was excluded because I don't know if it's technically classed as a toy, and I need to pull out all of the children's gifts and see what they've got. I've sort of got it all stored away at the moment and I brought it over time, so I need to pull all of that out, work out what everyone has and who I need to buy for. I don't want to go too overboard. But as you can see, all of these chocolates, all of the gift sets are on offer, the decorations, the crackers, and there is so much to choose from. We have a lot of our Christmas chocolate. I've picked it up while it's been on sale. I also got some from Just Eat, so I have all of the tins and bits. I am going to have to pick up selection boxes. I'm hoping for a good offer to come on. I think Asda at the moment are probably the cheapest, but if I get them in too early, it's not just the kids, I will probably get through them. So we'll get those in a couple of weeks when it's a bit closer to Christmas. These are all of the trees on the club card, and I thought some of them were quite good. They also had mini trees outside, like potted trees that can be outside, and I was going to get 2 of those. They're £15 each and they're pre-lit, and they would be quite good to go at the side of our doors. The only problem is at the moment the wind just seems to be constant. It's obviously getting into winter now, so it's just rain and wind, and I'm sure they would end up blowing away. I also took these trolley bags with me. I've had them for ages and I've not actually used them. So we were using the scan as you go, and it turned into a disaster because at the end what happened was we went to go and pay, and then when you scan the screen so you can pay, it froze. The scanner froze. So we got a member of staff to come across and she tried to scan her ID and like override it, because obviously we did have quite a lot in the trolley, and it didn't work. So in the end we had to go through the till anyway, and the staff, they were brilliant. She kept apologising, which obviously it's not her fault, it's technology. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So we ended up having to go through the tills anyway, unload it all and then pack it all back up. So it did add a bit of time onto the shop, but to be fair, we've only really started doing scan as you shop recently. We haven't done it that often, so it wasn't a big deal. But it's just typical, the first time I used the bags and I remembered to take the bags, that is what happened. Neve also had football. It seems to be on the days, well, to be fair, she has a match once a week and then she trains twice a week, so it always seems to be the days that she has football. So I think she was panicking a little bit that it was going to take longer than it was going to take, and then she'd have to miss her beloved football. So we picked up all the bits and pieces. Now usually at this time of night it was about 6 in the evening, and usually they would have run out of donuts. They don't seem to restock them obviously at this time of night because they're made in the bakery, but this time they actually had quite a lot there. So I was going to get some bagels, but I think the children are sort of going off them. There's only 2 that eat them and myself, and yeah, I think it's sometimes they have things that they eat all the time and then they have a bit too much of it and they go off it for a little while and then go back into it. So we didn't end up getting those. We did get some cake, some bits and pieces, but I also had an Iceland shop booked in, so I was trying to not go overboard with the treats as there's quite a lot in there. I did worry there was no eggs. Here all of these boxes are empty. I thought it was just too short and couldn't see in there, but then Neve had a look for me and she found these ones right at the end, hiding out the way for me. There was still only 3 packets left of the Tesco free range ones, which is not a huge amount, but we only needed 2. That will give us 2 breakfasts, maybe 3, depending on how many children are having eggs and if they're having something else. But to be honest, it does seem to be a breakfast of the choice at the moment. The only thing is they all have different ones, so some of them like fried eggs, some of them only have scrambled eggs, and some of them prefer eggy bread. Picked up some of these cakes. We always tend to go for the own brand ones over the Mr. Kipling and the branded ones. Sometimes, like if we're at Farm Foods and they are a similar price, we'll obviously go for the branded, but just to keep costs down, we find the non-branded ones just as good. They always seem to have quite a lot of the fruit and veg reduced when we go in here. There wasn't really anything that we would use, and especially not use it quickly, so I didn't pick any of them up, but there's always quite good offerings, especially at this time of night. Picked up a few bits of fruit, so we ended up with some grapes, some apples, some oranges. My children are really selective on what they have, nothing too exotic, they just stick to the same things. We're also picking it up every few days as we're trying to cut down on food waste, and at the moment I think it's probably just the time of year. It's obviously really expensive to pick up things like strawberries, and then if they don't eat them then I don't want to be chucking them away, so we just pick up a few days worth at a time. It helps them stay fresh, but we still manage to get through so many of them, especially as at the moment they don't seem to have such a long shelf life, especially the strawberries, and they only have the smaller packets now because it's out of season. They don't have the big value packs which we are used to. Plus this is a shop for a few days, it's not a big weekly shop. We will do that when Mark gets paid and then we'll sort of stock up for the month. So it's just for dinner tonight. I needed some potatoes, so we got 2 bags of those. Then we came across all of the really cute Christmas outfits. Neve had already been ahead and she'd picked out something for James, a sleep suit for James, like a little reindeer one. You might have seen it on the side of the trolley. But they just have so many cute things in there at the moment, all Christmassy. To be honest, even though there was 20% off, I don't tend to pick up a huge amount of Christmas clothes because it just gets worn a couple of times, and I wait until it goes down in the sales, usually 2 weeks before Christmas, a week before Christmas. They're reduced massively. That's when I pick up their outfits for Christmas Day, for Boxing Day and Christmas Eve, and even the Christmas pyjamas. We're not ones to completely match with Christmas pyjamas. It would cost us over £100 to do that. Plus, everyone has their own sense of style. So like last year when I got some pyjamas for Neve, I thought they were lovely, but she says they weren't grown up enough for her. She's obviously getting a bit older and she's got her own style, and that's the same for all of the children. So rather than all of us being in one set, we just pick them up when they're reduced and they can pick their own. Although I do admit, when you see the pictures of everybody in the same, it does look absolutely lovely. It just doesn't seem like it's worth the money to me. Then we got to all of the meat, and I'd come in to get some chicken to go with the potatoes. But I didn't realise I also pick up some mince, and right underneath that is they had beef on sale. Because if you watch our channel regularly, you know that we love a good bit of beef. And at this moment in time, trying to get a piece that's big enough for us all, get a joint that's big enough for us all, it costs a lot of money. Now I know that the club card prices are sometimes like really inflated, but it makes it much more reasonable to get it when it's on offer. And I have absolutely no clue how I didn't see it, how I didn't notice it. I think I got distracted because all of like the Christmas joints were all around it. Plus, we don't have turkey on Christmas Day. We do usually have beef and chicken instead, just because there's only a couple of us that like turkey and we're not overly keen on it. So it would have been handy to stock up. It is still on sale now, even though this was filmed last week, a week ago, I think it is. It is still on sale now, so I might pop in and get some more. And they also have legs of lamb on sale at the moment too. So it's definitely something that I'm going to go back for. They also have so many party items, party food items, and some of them are on a 3 for 2. So they have lots of fresh stuff that you can buy, and then they also have, I think it shows a little bit later in the video, all of the frozen party stuff, which again I will probably pick it up more towards Christmas rather than picking it up too early. Then we'll end up going through it, but I will also pick some up for Kiva's birthday. But all of these here, they roll on a 3 for 2 offer. We've got some cheese, but I'm going to stock up when I go to Farm Foods, as they have some really good offers on cheese at the moment. So that will do us for the next couple of days. And then the Philadelphia was on offer, so I did pick up one of those. However, I probably should have picked up more, but it's another case of the children used to have it all the time, and that's what they'd have for breakfast. They'd have that on toast, or we'd put it in with the pastas, and they just went off it for a little while, but we ended up going through that within like a day, so I should have really picked up some more. Then we got to the reduced section, and at this moment in time, it doesn't look like there's a lot there, but there was a lady that was there marking it down. So I thought I'd come back and have a look, and I didn't get many great clips of it. You will see in a minute though, I managed to get some smash burgers, and they were reduced down to £2 from £4. And then I also picked up some sausages that were down to 95p, and they are one of the only sausages that Connor will eat that is not a square sausage. Juice wise, we got the usual. So we got apple juice, that is Neve's absolute favourite, and a couple of the other children like it. Then we picked up some pure orange juice too. These I'm Rose were on a club card offer, so we got a pack of those. And then Neve also went off to go and get Coca-Cola. That is my little treat. By this point, I realised that we had got quite a bit more than we had come in for. It's always the way, I go in for a few things and then I ended up getting nearly a full trolley. So I just tried to rush around this time, but I did keep getting distracted as they have so many offers on at the moment. These pizzas are £1.50, so I got 2 of those. Didn't really need them, but the older children like those ones. Pasta, always stock up when we go in, it's just habit. We do have nearly a full cupboard of rice and pasta, but it's just a really good staple to have in the house. 2 of these jars of sauces. Usually we do use tomatoes and herbs, but sometimes we'll throw one of those out and bulk it out with the tomatoes and herbs, and it just makes it go a bit further if I am making 2 meals at once. Beans, another thing that we needed to pick up, and I did get some chocolate, but I didn't get much as I knew that we were going to get an Iceland shop. Had loads of emails through, and they've offered a £10 voucher for next month if we spend £240, which seems like a lot, but that's probably our average spend at Iceland. And they have lots of offers for Black Friday, which we can use and stock up the freezer, and then we won't need to do another freezer shop for this month. Like it says, in all we ended up spending £190, but we did get some toiletries in there. We got some washing up liquid and sponges, and we spent £25 on a present, £6 on another present, so a good 30 odd of that is not food. Another thing I hadn't realised is how cheap the cereal is here. Usually we get from Morrison's and that seems quite low, but here the prices seem to be even better. The children are not really eating a lot of it, so we're not picking as much up as we used to, but at 75p you can't complain. And I just think at the moment it is better to shop around, as there seems to be so many good deals at different places. So Asda at the moment have their party food 7 for £10, the frozen party food, and there's just different deals in different places, and if you can shop around it definitely works out better. Ben & Jerry's were on a club card price, so we picked some of that up as I had promised Kiana. And then they had the cutest little penguin ice creams too. So I thought the younger children would really like those. And of course, we got the strawberry cones. Basically gives each of the children one ice cream each. So even though it seems like a lot we pick up, often we have to get 3 packets just for everyone to be able to have something each. Thank you so much for watching, especially if you've got this far. I am trying to do Vlogmas. Whether it will happen, I doubt it. I never ever get on very well with it. I just find that I'm always too busy to get a video out every day. But I'm going to try my hardest and see if we can do it this year. So thank you so much to everyone that continues to watch.